Hi everyone, Devin Rex for Art here. So I've been wanting to get back to my steampunk journal for a while now, and it's a journal that I do in a paper bag journal that I have done a bunch of jelly prints on it, so we'll see the base layers in a moment. And this is sort of my starting point. I'm using different papers, I'll go through that in a second, and I'm gonna glue it down, grunge it up, and see where we end up. My main inspiration for this piece is going to be this Seth Apter Chunky Rust embossing powder. So I had a little bit of a play with it, and it gives some really nice texture. So I used the embossing powder there, along with some Inktense pencils and some distress inks. I'm just going to go through the different things I have sort of preliminary set out here. So first we have some papers from Stamperia. So this one here is from this set, SBB 601, and it's sort of like time machine inspired. So I'm going to use this to make a tag. And then on the back of that one, I'm going to use some different images and papers from this set here, which is a Penelope D Notable. This is from a copyright free book. I just did a photocopy of it. And this one here is from this Extraordinary Things to Cut Out and Collage. And I resized it, so I photocopied it and made it bigger. Fussy cut it. This is obviously from a magazine. Let's put these aside together. The other inspiration point is this lady from the Stamperia set, the SeaWorld, Mechanical SeaWorld. So that lady's from that, and then I fussy cut her out, and then all the edges and stuff I used to reuse that to decorate the remaining parts of it. So that's going to all go in there. And this was also from that first Stamperia set of paper. That's the jelly print base. So this is just a little flip of some of my steampunk journal in progress. I did do a video on this one. If you check my playlist, it's in there. And then this train, which I'm going to add some of those little ripped pieces from the Stamperia paper, was from this paper set, Ella and Viv Paper Company Adventure Emporium Kit. And it has a lot of interesting images, so I'm going to use the train from this. It's quite thick. It's very thick, so I'm going to have to use some heavy-duty glue to glue that down. And so that's sort of where I'm starting, sort of the base. Again, that's the other jelly print side there. So I'm going to go ahead and glue all that down. Okay, so we got the main pieces glued down. Now we're just going to play with the details. First thing is I'm going to glue all these little scraps here onto the train. When I was gluing the bigger pieces, the heavy pieces of paper, I used this Aleene's tacky glue, and I put quite a bit on, and then if the edges didn't quite tack down, I just use the glitter glue in this fine tip bottle to just kind of squeeze underneath. So I did take a picture before to remind myself where I wanted all these little pieces. But I mean, if you can't remember, like if you didn't take a picture, you can't remember, it doesn't, it's fine. Just put it where You always change your mind, right? It doesn't have to be the same. So, like I said, I've been wanting to do work on my steampunk journal for a while, and there's lots of new awesome steampunk paper out available, but I thought, you know, I already have a lot of steampunk ephemera and papers, so I really wanted to use what I had. And when I did the jelly printing for this book, I wanted to make it a steampunk journal, so I kind of kept a similar color scheme through the whole book. It's all turquoise and red and metallics. So the papers that I already had worked quite well with those themes, with those color scheme. Just wiping away a little excess glue. And I just wanted to integrate the train into the Stamperia steampunk world. And here, see where there's a little square, I just changed my mind just now, and I decided I'm going to incorporate it here so it looks like it's part of this train thing. I'm just wiping off that excess glue with a baby wipe, because this paper is quite thick and it's coated. I liked how this little paper had that little seahorse on it. I'm going to try to tuck that under there because it's pretty glued. We'll just kind of smush it up against it. And that's one of the fun things about steampunk, is it can be distressed. It doesn't have to be perfect. This is obviously a pocket, so I just glued down the 3 edges and I made sure that it would fit my tag. And as I was gluing down, I thought this might be interesting to put this, maybe cut a slit there and glue that in so that it looks like it's sort of attached in there. So let's do that. Let's cut that. But it would have been good to think of that before. So now I have to cut while it's already attached to my page. All right. So I'll just slip the cardboard in there, and I'm just going to cut a slit right there so it looks like that paper is torn. And I'm actually going to mark it with a pencil. There. There. I want the word time travel to be showing. So I want it to be jaggedy, like that paper piece. There we go. So maybe just a little bit more. There, I like that. So I'm going to glue that down. I think I'm just going to use a dimensional, actually. You know, I'm going to wait until I distress that part. So I'm just going to put that on there just to remind myself. So we'll come back to that. I'm going to attach that. Maybe we should cut. Okay, so I cut out all those little bits. So I'm gonna glue that down with some matte medium. Obviously this is too bright, so I'm going to dull it down with a bit of alcohol ink. We're using colors as butterscotch or caramel. So the reason I'm using alcohol ink instead of like a distress ink is because I'm going to be putting this on with matte medium, and that would move the color. Maybe that's a bit too yellow. Let's add a bit more turquoise. This is just some plain alcohol. To blend that. So we can always blend that color in a bit more once we've got it glued down. I'll use a marker too. This is an alcohol marker, just to color that in, and then we'll distress it a bit once it's glued down. Again, we're going to cover that with matte medium. And I think I left the matte medium on a little bit too long on the back of this magazine page, so it's going to be a little bit wrinkly. That's okay. We'll try to scrape that flat. Alright, so center is not as wrinkly now, so that's good enough. Sorry, the paper underneath the jelly print is a bit wrinkly itself. Oh yeah, I want to glue that there too. Just do that with this glue. Just gonna flip that out of the way. And let's just work on this tag a little bit. So this helps it tie it over to the other page. It's like a cabinet of her memories of her maybe her former life or her future life, or is she the time traveler? Is he the time traveler? I don't know. These are all mysteries of the steampunk world. So I'm just using some walnut stain. Like putting matte medium on this tag. I'm actually going to do the front first. I'm just going to set that aside, and then once that's dry, we'll do the back side. And let's just ink the edges of this guy while we're waiting. Let's add a little bit of this rust. If I want to add some depth here, I should put matte medium on her. So let's just do that. Otherwise, when I add the wet medium, it's just gonna soak into that. This is just glue seal paper with some jelly print, some acrylic paint. I think that's good. Okay, I'm gonna just give this a dry with the heat gun. And add some matte medium to this side. Okay, so I like where we're at so far. Don't like the color of this. We're gonna have to try to fix that. Got my tag started. This is we're gonna pop that in there after we've done some distressing. We're gonna start adding some of this Seth Apter chunky rust and adding some grunginess. So I thought I'd use some texture stamps. So I really like this one here. And I'm also gonna get some dots because they look like rivets. So I thought I'd use these ones. Before I do that, I think I'm gonna just ink that edge. I should have inked it before I glued it down, but that's how it goes. You don't always need to use a stamping block. Like I could use a stamping block, but sometimes you just want part of it. You don't want the whole thing. And these have like a stickiness to them, so they stick to your finger pretty well. So sometimes I just do that. So I'm just going to stamp around the edge here. That was just Versamark I was using. I find that some of the chunkiness sort of settles to the top, so I'm just going to give it a shake. Okay, so I think I sprinkled everywhere that I had the powder. Sorry, sprinkled everywhere I had the stamps. I'm just going to use this white. Now this is the trick when you're doing this in a journal. But you know, I'm just remembering that I didn't really bind this journal together, so I'm just going to slip this whole page out. And that's going to make it easier to just tap it down. And then that way it's pretty easy to put it back into here. And then I like to close up my powder and put it away before I grab out my heat gun because I don't want to melt in there. Ooh, some of that got on her face. I'm gonna leave the edges because that might be kind of cool, but I'm actually gonna wipe her face off. I don't know. I mean, I do have my medium on there, but it's dry, so I don't really know why it's sticking. That's strange. I don't want her all rusty. See, I think some of it's shiny, but where there was sort of like this puffy stuff, it's not as shiny, but it's still melted. So I think now I'm gonna go around with my Versamark and kind of just do around some of these cutouts that I added. I'm going to stamp here to sort of tie those two together. I forgot to do here. I think I'll do in this little section a bit more. Okay, so we're gonna add some intense pencil to that. We're just gonna work on the other side first. And I'm just gonna go ahead and take this out. So I'm gonna start with the stamps first. Just going to color the whole cog here, so there's more of a contrast between it and the inside of the cog. Sprinkle that on and see what we get. Ah, don't want it in the pocket. Don't go in the direction of the pocket. I like how that turned out. Heating that, I was thinking maybe to tone down that yellow, I could use some Tim Holtz Distress Glaze, which is more see-through. I only have four colors. I have Speckled Egg, which might look cool. I have Kitsch Flamingo, which would not go with this page. Cracked Pistachio, it's already a bit green. And Fired Brick. So I'm torn between these two. I think I'm gonna do the Speckled Egg, because where it's yellow, it'll look more green, and where it's blue, it'll look more blue. That's my hope. So I want that pretty even, so I'm going to use the dauber. So Tim Holtz says that you don't squeeze it, you kind of let the valve go, and it doesn't have doesn't have to be soaking. You just need it. I don't know. It's coming out. Is it coming out? Let's do that. All right, let's see what happens. I don't know if there's enough on there. I don't really see any on there. This will be an experiment. Oop, that's the wrong one. That's the cracked pistachio. That's not what I wanted. I wanted this one. Well, I guess the corner is going to be cracked pistachio. I think I'll just rub a little bit off. That'd be funny if I actually like the cracked pistachio part better. Oh dear. I don't mind this orangey because it's already orange there anyhow. All right, fingers crossed. Let's see how that looks. It's supposed to be see-through. I think I like it better. Looks deeper. Let's put that aside. So I've got the teal green and I've got bark. So I'm going to start off with the bark put here because I want her face to pop a little bit more. Some people don't like that word pop. I want her face to stand out. I want to give it a bit of depth. And as a lot of you know, the Inktense pencils, the theory is once you activate them and let them dry, the theory is that they stay permanent. Let's get my water brush. I want some of this yummy teal. So I'm just being a bit haphazard with this. I don't want it like super exact. And if it's too bright, you can just dab it off with a baby wipe. Okay, then we use the bark. Just wanted a bit of depth to her portrait. side. All right, let's start with the teal. Okay, so there's our tag. I'm pretty happy with that. And because this is covered in matte medium, I was able to, you know, spread the Inktense pencil and then dab it, and it would, you know, not be so strong. So that's good. So that's gonna go in here. And this guy's gonna go there. Perhaps we should give him a little bit of that green color, just to help it stand out a bit. This is not covered in matte medium, so I don't think it will, if I blot it, it's not gonna really make it less strong. I like that, so we'll pop that in there. Remember we put that pop dot on there, and I think we'll put a bit of going to ink this edges here. Just because the white of the paper's showing. And you could spend much more time distressing this and adding details. But I think I'm that. Let's add some ink to the edges here. Now, obviously there's lots of people that do steampunk, and this isn't really a tutorial, it's just more of a sharing, you know, what I did. And maybe you see something in, you know, one aspect of what I did, maybe makes you think of something or gives you an idea, then that's great. So this is I think the main example of this is that you can use papers from different places, from magazines, you can use your jelly prints, you can use, you know, different brands of paper together. You can use images from collage books that you can photocopy. So you can mix and match. So thanks for watching. I hope you had fun, and go make your own steampunk page. Bye.